Casey Stout, come on out and say.
Liv always makes me cry. Can't help it.
Louder.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony. Like you said, my name is Casey Stout. I'm not really a politician. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a civic leader. I'm just a simple man. Thankfully, in this life, I'm not alone. I'm grateful to my wife and my two.
Chicken. Oh yeah. Okay, we'll go.
My two beautiful little girls. My wife and daughters deserve the very best. And I struggle every day to give them what they deserve. Like you, I work hard. I work hard for my family. To provide for them and to protect them from the immorality we see around us. There's a sickness that I see in our society. I see it spreading, and I see the symptoms all around us. Drugs, alcohol, pornography, gambling, crushing debt, general immorality. I see it rip families apart. I say that the morals of this society is what holds us together. And the war that's being waged on our families can no longer stand.
Woo!
If we continue to tolerate, we will become more apathetic, more willing to just go with the flow. This war is being fought in our homes against those who we love the most. We as a Christian nation, usually the only one left, must fight, win, and win decisively. If we continue to fight and argue amongst ourselves, we forfeit. We give it away. I implore all the leaders of religion within the sound of my voice to put aside our pride and work with one another. Be you Baptist or Buddhist or Mormon or Church of Christ or Catholic or Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't matter. We have to find the common thread of faith in God. Focus on that commonality. We have to allow it to blossom and grow. Encourage our congregations to praise morality and faith in God, no matter where we find it. September 11th. It was a terrible day for all of us. But as the terrorists found out, it galvanized us as a nation. I fondly remember the days and weeks after, seeing parades and a new spirit of unity that wasn't there before. I submit that only by supporting one another, striving and working hard to be united, will we be strong enough to protect our little ones. In this setting today, We've come together to give voice to our dissatisfaction with our leaders in Washington, who seem to view themselves as rulers instead of employees.
Yeah.
They seem to have never been taught that America is not a collection of peasants, but a nation of individual kings and queens.
Yeah.
Our gathering here is not a partisan gathering. We choose to view ourselves not as Republicans or Democrats or independents, but as Americans.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of one of my heroes, a local man. He earned 4 Bronze Stars while serving in World War II. He was in the 36th Infantry Division, a VAR gunner. I noticed while we were setting up that 3 trees back there's a memorial to that unit. His name's Pershing Waddell. During his time in the war, he participated in 4 different amphibious attacks in Europe, all in the face of bitter German machine gun and mortar fire. With his permission, I'll relate to you one of the many stories he shared with me. As his unit was moving through France, he relates that they chose a large field in which to stop for the night. The men were all ordered to buddy up, pick a spot, and dig a nice deep foxhole facing the next tree line. Private Waddell said in his own words that he was strongly prompted by the Spirit of God on where to place his foxhole. To his buddy's dismay, the spot Private Waddell chose was at the base of a large oak tree. Despite much protesting by his buddy, who surely thought himself most unfortunate to have such a stubborn companion, they began working on their entrenchment. Long after the other men in the unit were finished, Private Waddell and his companion struggled on through the tough tree roots. Very early the next morning, the men were awakened to a sound that would terrify any infantryman: panthers. The ground shook as the 4 German tanks came closer and the men huddled in their foxholes. The Germans saw the fresh line of earthworks and charged forward, completely impervious to any weapons the Americans had. Instead of wasting bullets, the panzers parked, 1 tread on top of the foxhole, and span in a circle, quickly burying all the occupants. In a very short time, the entire unit was buried, all but the young, stubborn Private Waddell and his fortunate buddy. After the Germans left, Private Waddell and his companions began digging out the rest of the unit, quickly freeing them all, and surprisingly, not 1 man died. I share this story because I feel that we are now in a similar circumstance. Our nation is in peril. To save it, we need a few good men and women like Pershing Waddell. People willing to listen to God. People willing to work long and hard because it's the right thing to do. This nation was founded by men who are obviously inspired by God.
Yay!
Throughout its history, it has been defended by the same caliber of men. And now in our day, those same high-quality men and women are called upon to stand up for others and shoulder the burden of freedom. I thank God for people like that.
Yeah!
You and I are the people that put in long hours of work. You and I are the people that help our neighbors, the people who, to quote the teleprompter, cling to our guns and our religion. The funny thing is, that is what makes America great. The people. People like you and I, willing to work hard to build a nation free from oppression, tyranny, and enslavement, while the rest of the world continues to be bound down by abusive governments, heavy taxes, and terror in the name of religion. We have the privilege of living in a nation